G'day knuckleheads, Uncle Knackers here, and have I got a project for you. Sometimes I get an idea for a project and I just can't wait to start it. And with Christmas just around the corner and a scorching hot Australian summer upon us, the timing couldn't be more perfect. So what I've planned is to transform this classic 1970s esky or cooler into a raised or elevated rustic timber cooler box made out of old fence palings, and it's going to look absolutely fantastic. Now the first thing you need to do is to remove all the old hardware off the esky or the cooler, because we need a blank canvas to work with. Now with all the hardware taken off, it's now time to work out what size you want to build your cooler box. I'm going to make mine the length of the cooler box here, or the esky, with an added 300 millimeters or 12 inches on either end, which all up is about 1150 millimeters or about 45 inches. And that'll give you somewhere to put your stubby or your bowl of chips or something like that. And the height, what you do is you take the lid off and you want the height of the esky plus some. And for me, I've gone about 480 millimeters in depth, which is about, what's that, 19 inches. Okay, let's start building these panels. Okay, we need to cut enough timber to make 2 panels for the front and the back. And each panel has 5 palings, so that'll be 10 all up. We need to cut them at 1150 millimeters long, or roughly 45 inches. So let's do that. Now we also need to cut 3 supports for each panel. And I'm just using this old hardwood rail from the paling fence. And we need 3 of those cut at 475 millimeters each. Just be careful when cutting the old rail, as there's always a truckload of nails in it, so just be careful. Now to save some time, I've pre-assembled these side panels. You can see the supports are in. There's one there, one in the middle, and one down the other end. You also notice that the end support is a paling's width back from the end. That way when the side goes in, it finishes up nice and flush, just like that. And to nail the palings off, just grab a hammer or your nail gun and bang away. I should also say too that it's a good idea, before you assemble everything, to give these old palings a bit of a sand. It's going to be easier in the long run. And now we just need to nail the sides off. Beautiful! So there's the box all made. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? Now all we need to do is to attach the legs. And to make the leg, all I'm doing is getting 2 palings, running some glue down one edge, and then nailing the other on top, just like that. And I've pre-made some, and the length of these legs is 830 millimeters, which is about, I think it's 33 inches. And then on the bottom of these legs, I'm going to put some casters so we can move this bad boy around. I'm just going to nail these legs on. So here she all is, with the legs in place. Now just to get away from the chunkiness of the leg, I want to add a bit of a splay. So I'm going to go in 45 millimeters from the edge and run a line up to about 30 millimetres from the underside of the box here, and that'll give us a nice angle. So there you have it, and I must say it's looking pretty good. Now the next stage is to put the top on it using these old palings once again. But before you do that, you need to install these supports. One on the end, one there, and one there. Now the two supports in the middle here are offset from the centre because I want to install the esky or the cooler. I don't want those supports to be in the way. And just as a quick side note, this would make a fantastic elevated herb garden. Next video, perhaps. And now it's time to nail the top off. With the tabletop now put on, it's now time to cut a hole for our cooler or our esky. So place it where you want to put it on the tabletop, trace around it with a pencil, and then cut it out with a jigsaw. So there you have it, the esky or the cooler has been inserted into that hole that I've just cut. Now all we need to do is to add some support beneath this to stop it from sliding all the way through. So if we go down here, we just need to run some supports underneath the esky. That'll nail into the side over there, and that'll stop this from falling through. So with the lid, all I've done is that I've framed around the outside edge of it with some old fence railing. And once you open it up, you've got your esky. Close it down again. Just hinge it at the back, put some palings across the top, and we're done. How good does that look? I clad the top with some old fence palings and then ran one around the outside edge as well, just to cover up that old hardwood rail. And for the handle, all I did was cut down the old handle from the esky that's inside here, and it works like an absolute charm. And because my lid is set back from the edge of the cooler box, I used a really good set of cabin hinges. They're absolute rippers, and cabin is C-A-B-I-N. Get a set. Now you don't want little kids, or even big kids for that matter, jamming their fingers underneath this lid. So to fix that problem, all I did was cut a stick of timber, screwed it to the side of the lid, chiseled a small hole into the cooler box top, and then all you do is place that stick into that hole, and there you go. No more squished fingers. How cool is that? Now to make this big unit a bit more mobile, I'm going to screw these casters to the bottom of the legs. Make sure you pre-drill the holes first, because otherwise you'll split the leg. Now for drainage, all I did was get some 25mm poly pipe. I drilled a 25mm hole into the side here and ran the pipe straight through and attached it to the outlet on the esky or the cooler box. I ran the pipe out and then cut it off flush with this surface here. And then this tap just screwed beautifully into the end of that poly pipe with some silicone, and the job was done. How easy is that? And now it's time for a few finishing touches. I've got a really cool old surfing sign which I'll screw to the front. I've got a couple of bottle openers because, seriously, what's a rustic old cooler box without a bottle opener or two? So I've got one here that I've painted up and sanded back to make it look a bit old. And this one here, which is possibly the coolest and most manliest bottle opener of all, and it's an old spanner. And all I've done is cut one of those lugs off, and that gives it the perfect angle to open a bottle. What an absolute ripper! So how much did all this cost? Well, the wheels cost 16, the tap was 7, and the hinges were 10. So if you carry 16 divided by the 10, carry the 9 with the hypotenuse, that comes up with $33. How cheap is that for this? Now how good does that look? And it even comes stocked, ready for action. What a top project. Great techniques! And as per usual, if you found this video useful, subscribe to my channel. The button's down there, thumbs up, the button's down there as well. And don't go to shed, because there'll be a couple of photos going backwards and forwards of this little baby in various stages of construction. Anyway, I better get stuck into a couple of those coldies. So till next time, I'm out of here. Cheers.